Well, welcome to this edition of B.E.P Talks, where we bring you incredible people from all walks of life, all industries and professions, all levels of expertise. But they're all here with one very important share: their beliefs, their experiences, their passions. They open up, you get to know them, and trust me, they want to get to know you too. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So it never disappoints. And today is certainly no exception. Today's guest is Debbie Chen, a leadership coach, a strategist, and a powerhouse speaker who works with ambitious women to help them stop second guessing themselves and learn to lead with unstoppable confidence and clarity. Debbie has decades of experience in business and leadership, and she knows how self-doubt can quietly, sometimes even loudly, sabotage your success. So after rising from invisibility herself to bold, purpose-driven leadership, Debbie created the Wake Up, Show Up, Step Up method, and it's her proven process to help women rewire fear-based thinking, to activate their authority, and to amplify their influence. Debbie is known for her humor, her big heart, and high performance strategies. And Debbie sparks wake-up moments that you're going to experience very soon to ignite real transformation. Debbie's on a mission to empower women to disrupt their comfort zones and to empower industries to lead with courage, authenticity, and to become not just memorable, but unforgettable leaders who shift atmospheres with purpose and power. So please welcome today's very special guest, Debbie Chen. Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm absolutely delighted to be here.
It is my absolute pleasure, and thank you very much for being here today. What I want to do, as I said through the bio, is share how you can empower women to empower themselves. Is really what it really should come down to. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me, tell me if I'm right. When you talk about self-doubt and sabotaging, and if you look at B.E.P Talks, beliefs, experiences, passions, is there a backstory to this for you, Debbie? Does this come from experience?
Oh, it sure does. If I can tell a story.
Please.
So if you imagine, weeds, oh, weeds. What? I'm hearing this from across the playground in my fourth grade year. Weeds. Oh, we're going to call her Weeds. And I'm thinking, they're looking at me. I'm looking at the ground. I'm grabbing a hold tightly of this big red ball. And I'm trying to figure out, why are they calling me Weeds? And then one boy yells out, "Hey, well, she's got like hair in her armpits, so we're going to call her Weeds." This fourth grade heart just dropped. I really wish the world could have just, or the soil under me could have just swallowed me up in that moment. And in that moment too, I could have just run and I could have just changed the trajectory of my whole life, right? And I could have just taken on that label. But in that just that briefest of moments, I thought, no. And I turned around and I started laughing with them. And I was like, that was great. Oh my gosh, that's really funny. Good job, good job. Now in the inside, I was screaming, "Oh my gosh, what did they just did?" Right? You're already a sensitive, prepubescent kid. And I just remember in that moment, no, they're not getting to stick that label on me. They're not getting to take that label, and I'm not going to accept it. And then in later years, I realized I kind of forgot about that. I forgot about that pivotal moment. And in later years, finally, I realized I was allowing lies, untruths that were spoken over me, that I would speak to myself, to really keep me hidden, keep me less than, keep me playing small, if you will, and
Mm.
showing up small, right? Even there's some people, they don't know it today, that I felt like ashamed to be in their presence for no good reason. But it was just that whole idea of I was letting lies and self-sabotage just shrink me. And
Mm.
then I just learned really how to very intentionally, and it does take work. It's not an overnight thing, but very intentionally grabbing hold of that, going, okay, wait a minute, let me evaluate was what was just said or the thought that just went through my head. Is that true? Let me put the light of truth on that. Okay. Oh, no, it isn't. All right. We're going to cut it out like a disease. Okay. And
Mm.
then we're going to take that, cut out the lie, replace it with truth, and then we're going to internalize that. And it did. It took maybe a couple years for me. I guess I had a lot of hooks in me or labels I had to rip off. And that was my part of my transformation. And I see that with the clients that I work with as well, that sometimes they know it, sometimes they're aware, sometimes they don't know that there's just this invisible wall of sorts that's keeping them from up leveling. And it isn't all about mindset. There's definitely a skill set that has to be applied, but that is a big part of that self-sabotage. Would you agree?
I totally agree. And I'm thinking in fourth grade, you're what, like 10 years old? That's a very precious, vulnerable, I would say, time that can
Yes.
influence someone unconsciously, subconsciously for the rest of your life. So
Right.
I want to say to you, I'm sorry that you experienced that, but how brilliant you were
Mm-hmm.
in that prepubescent time of your life, as you called it, to recognize this and to take control of it. That was
Mm-hmm.
that was that was amazing. You showed natural leadership, Debbie, very early in
Mm-hmm.
life. And I so applaud you for that. And yes, people put labels on. The other thought I had is, you know how they say bad press is better than no press? Is
Mm-hmm.
that at least you were being noticed
Mm.
by others.
Right,
Do we
right.
sometimes do that? Look for ways to be noticed in less than great ways just to be noticed?
Yes. Yes, yes. I mean, a typical scenario for a lot of your audience here is you go to networking events
Hmm.
and you see the people doling out the business cards like they're Pokemon card collectors, right? And how attractive is that? They get the attention, but not maybe the attention that they want, right? Because they're not making the true connection versus someone who walks into the room with an authority meaning
Hmm.
knowing what you carry, right? And they walk in the room with more of what I call a host mentality or an anchor mentality, if you will, where now they're not focusing on their own belly button. they are they are looking outward and saying, how can I change the atmosphere of this room? What is the best that I can bring to this event, even if I'm not the host, right? So what does a host do? They go and they make connections, they introduce, hey, how are you doing? Is everything going okay? Do you need some more water? That kind of thing. Even if you're not the official host, but now you're not just memorable in that event or that room, you start to become unforgettable.
Yes, yes, yes. And there are subtle ways of doing it. You mentioned that, and I know for some it's just a natural part of their personality, maybe how they were raised. I'm the oldest girl in a big family. It kind of comes with, the birthright, the birth duty, what have you,
Hmm.
where you just tend to play that role quite naturally.
Hmm.
But it can be learned or it can be
Hmm.
improved upon, can it not?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is like those simple skills. And again, that came out of a lot of my personal experience. Now, I was an only child. And so I had to make decisions where I didn't have someone to huddle with in a room, if you will. And at a young age, I remember reading this fabulous book that actually kind of talked a little bit about being that host. And to be a friend, you have to step out to be a friend. To make a connection, you have to step out to be a connect, to connect. So,
Yes. Why do we all wait for someone else to take the first step? Yeah.
right. Because we're
Well,
all sitting there going, looking at our own belly buttons again, right?
yeah, introvert, extrovert, which is very
Mhm.
often misunderstood.
Right.
So you mentioned, authority. Authority
Mm,
doesn't mean taking over and control. It's kind of the difference between demanding attention and just naturally
mm.
commanding attention.
Yes, yes, I love that definition. Yes, absolutely. And again, it's where if you imagine we walk into a room, because I know we're talking to an audience of ladies, so we walk in the room with our fabulous purse, our bag, the ultimate accessory, and it's filled figuratively with the skill set that we have, whether it is our speaking abilities, the business, the value that our product or service has, but even more importantly, who we are. When we're grounded, we know who we are. This is also part of confidence, but
Yeah.
confidence really isn't necessarily internal, but it's where you are actually putting things into action. You're stepping out, and that's also where the authority comes in. Like you said, is it's you're commanding without demanding
Right.
that authority, and people sense that. That's the
Oh,
really
yes.
interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
Like people, the heads turn when that person walks in the door.
Yes. Yes. So then why is it that so many women have this self-doubt, this second guessing? Um,
Mm,
I'm guessing, well, you're going to tell me, but I'm thinking that it might be just not in their business life, but that it comes
mm.
from their personal life that they carry that baggage to work with them, let's
Mm,
say.
hmm.
Why is that?
Right, right. Well, one of the things I've learned is obviously things are going to be different for different people from their
Sure,
backgrounds, etc.,
sure.
right? But I love this account that actually my husband told me was he would ride in a group of motorcycles, and the whole group could see way up ahead there was this huge boulder in the middle of the road. And it was just interesting to see how everybody approached that boulder. So that boulder could be that thing that is keeping you from moving forward. That what we say about ourselves, the self doubts, whatever you want to term that. But you see this boulder in the road, and he said it was so fascinating because everyone could see it, but everybody navigated it very differently. And even, believe it or not, some people still crashed in front of the rock, even though they saw it right there, because they weren't sure, well, how am I going to get around it? Or they were just so focused on the boulder versus how am I going to get around this? I'm going to go over, around, sideways, flying over it, whatnot. And it was just a really fascinating look into how people deal with that.
Yeah. So what I'm getting from that is that if you stay focused on the problem, you're going to crash right into the problem as opposed to, well, there is the problem. What's my solution? How do I navigate around it?
Right,
Um,
right.
which is what, you know what? I guess why in life itself, everybody can lead in his or her own way within his or her own family, let's say. But
Hmm.
in the business world, am I correct in thinking, and I'm going to say it, if everybody's a leader, who's following?
Mm,
It's a
yeah, yeah, that's really good.
relative, you still have to have people who are willing to follow you. So when it
Yes.
comes to women, most particularly, where does our fear, well, we know it comes from a backstory, but is it a fear of success? Is
Hmm.
it fear of failure, which we view as
Right,
opposites, and I don't think they're opposites? Fear of criticism? What is it? What is the fear?
right, right. Yeah, and I love it. Well, what I've really come to understand what fear is, like I know a lot of people have heard fear is basically of something that's not real,
Hmm.
which it isn't, right? It's because it's something that hasn't even happened yet, but we're already trying to control something that hasn't happened. And maybe that is, maybe the root is that need for that control over
Hmm.
something that hasn't happened already, and which is kind of counterintuitive, right? It's a little bit illogical. Just kind of like that rock, like, oh, I'm going to crash into it even though I have half a mile to decide how to get around it. It's that barrier that can get in the way.
Jen, I'm going to crash into it. Destined to crash into it. That's what you were focused on.
Right.
It's a
Right.
great story. I'm just picturing it. I'm picturing
Right.
who would I
It's
be
just
riding with and who would crash and who would go left, who would go right, who would stop. I'm just trying to,
right. Right.
it's a funny thing to imagine. So let me
Yeah.
ask you something. You took control of
Mm,
yourself beginning at the age of 10 through that very generous story that you shared. Is it ever too late
mm,
for a woman in business who's self doubting, who's sabotaging, who's not
mm.
accomplishing what she knows in her heart she wants to, she needs to? I always say deserves to. Is it ever
Right.
too late to change that around?
Right. Right. No, absolutely not. Because that was one of the things where that was for me that pivotal moment at the age of 10, and then just life kind of took over, right? We moved into, a decade or two after that, where yeah, just life starts to happen and you just
Yeah.
kind of forget that, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's ever too late. Because it's a very intentional moment, just like that intentional moment where maybe we get into our 50s and go, maybe I should start exercising. There's always going to be the benefit from that, right? And yeah, so
Yeah.
absolutely not.
That's a good example. So
Mm,
you created a program
mm,
called the Wake Up, Show Up, Step Up Method. Talk to us
mhm,
about that, Debbie.
mhm, mhm. So this really has evolved from all those years in multiple types of businesses and multiple life experiences as well, where I feel like a lot of women in business need to wake up into their potential to really know even more what they carry, the magnificence that they carry, the beauty of who they are, not just physically, but internally as well. The value that they bring is so important. Just like you said, we're never too late, right? Better late
Oh,
than never,
better
right?
than never. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the once the waking up, they're showing up. So then we
Mm.
go back to where we're talking about. So if you're really knowing that value that you carry, not just your products and services, but who you are, now you're showing up differently. You're showing up
Yeah.
differently for your customers. You're providing win-win-win situations, which is very disruptive in most industries, right? Where it's not win-win-win. And that shows up whether it's in customer service, again, we can think of a Ritz Carlton as an example of phenomenal service where, just side note, where they anticipate what the customer wants, and that comes from a place of confidence and authority, right? That even, again, another side note, that their employees within Ritz-Carlton have a $2,000 budget where they can take care of any need, whatever it is. They have a budget to take care of a guest's needs at their discretion. And
Wow.
do you think those employees show up differently? Absolutely, because now they know that value that they carry, they can remedy a situation, and it's win-win-win for the employees as well as the guests,
Oh,
just as an example.
that's a great policy to have.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Debbie, a little while ago, you used a word that fascinated me. You said evolves. So I heard evolve, and I'm thinking evolve shows progression, it shows growth, it shows forward motion, um, as opposed to revolve, just going in a circle, evolving,
Right.
moving forward.
Mhm.
I'm hearing from you, it's never too late, which is wonderful. I loved your example of exercising. Yes, it's never too late. Do a sit up. It's better than doing none.
Mhm.
Um, those are choices that we get to make, though, aren't they?
Mhm. Yes.
So
It
why do I'm going to go back,
mhm. Mhm.
as I
Mhm.
said in your intro.
Right.
Why do women second guess? Is it offense or defense? What side of the game are they playing when they second guess themselves? And probably prolong ever making a decision. And then suddenly
Mhm.
you're 70 and saying, oh, damn, I didn't do that one sit up 20 years ago, kind of a feeling. What is it?
Yeah.
What's built into the woman that makes her feel like this?
Yes, yes, and that's such a great question. I do feel it comes back to that sense of identity, really not knowing who you are. And and that can be in your upbringing, it could be
Mhm,
in
mhm,
your school environment, it could be any of those things from the past, but to be really intentional and saying, okay, exactly, let me sit down. What is making me stuck?
mm,
Why am I second guessing? And sometimes it feels like an invisible wall that you just can't get past. And it is that, okay, what did I just say over myself? Or what did
mm,
I just accept from other
mm,
people? And it's those
mhm,
labels, those hooks that get into us that tell us otherwise than who we really are.
mm, mm,
Because one of the examples, too, I keep thinking, and I know we have a similar experience, that when I went to an all girls school
mm,
for high school and for college, and if that was, yes, that's a very unique experience,
mm.
absolutely. Can everyone to relate to it? Maybe not, but at the same time, I see the value because we weren't constantly comparing ourselves. That's a part of it too, right? When we really know who we are and identity, we're not busy comparing ourselves, we're not busy competing with others, like you said. And also taking it into the business world, I'm not trying to be like Susie Q, because Susie Q and I can be in the same industry, but we bring a different value. We bring a different purse into the room with, right, those tools. And we can be in the same industry. Some people are going to be attracted to Susie Q because of who she is and her personality and what she brings. And others are going to be attracted to me because of who I am and what I bring. Yeah.
There's enough for everybody. I mean, there's enough for everybody. And something that I am very, very supportive of is working with other women and saying, okay, we might even be in a similar, maybe even the exact same industry, but we might serve in a different way. And if
Hmm.
nothing else, it's ourselves that make it a unique experience. I bring me, you bring you. I
Hmm.
can't be you, you can't be me. That we need to honor our individuality, and that's where our personal authority comes from.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
wow, there's a lot of work that can be done, and that's what I love is that it's not too late. And I know that the wake up, show up, step up method, which is proven, you've helped so many people. Who
Hmm.
who is your who do you serve? Talk to me about your ideal customer.
Sure, sure, sure. Absolutely. I have a passion for serving entrepreneurial women, business owners, small business owners, who are driven, who want to have an impact, who want to be able to influence their communities as well as their world of influence, that also want to be disruptive. They don't want to
Oh,
be like every other fish in the pond, but they want to show up, like you said, not demanding attention, but commanding attention just because they're stepping into who they authentically are. And I know that that term, authenticity gets bounced around and so forth, and it gets kind of lost in the shuffle. But again, it's really knowing, hey, there, like you said, there is no competition. I'm coming as me in my magnificent package, just like you are. So there's no competition. But if we
no,
don't,
no.
but the thing that really gets me, oh, it just lights a fire in me, is that I want so much for women to show up who they are. I mean, how many times do you hear friends say, or colleagues or whatnot, like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't want to show up on my Facebook lives, so on and so forth. And like, but that's how people connect with you because they want to connect with you. And
Right.
one might say, oh, I don't look good, or, I have a buck tooth, or it's, hair coming out of my ears, whatever it might be. But that doesn't matter. People are still going to connect with you because of who you are.
I would say that it's important to know, just as important in some cases, to know who you're not supposed to work with as it is to find out
Mm,
who you are supposed to work with, so that you
mm,
can kind of zone in on that person. You can eliminate some people. And I don't mean to make that sound like, discard them, but not
mhm,
everybody is necessarily meant to work with other
mm.
people. But you
True.
want to work with, and you have to work with ambitious women in business who want more for themselves. And somehow I have to believe that they know it's within them to do it. And
Right.
and that you're the person who can help them. And what a beautiful thing to say, hello out there, here's a solution for you. Debbie can take you through the wake up, show up. I want to make sure I say it right. Step up method that she has proven with other businesswomen to help you step into your
Mm.
authenticity, your personal power, shall I say. And I want to ask
Mm.
you about that. In your bio,
Yes.
I connected two very important words, um, purpose and power.
Mm.
What's the
Mm.
connection?
Mm. When, first of all, when you know who you are and what you carry, then you also, in that, like we talked about, that evolution as you're growing and digging into it very intentionally, then you're finding out what your purpose is, whether, in this industry, I'm going to serve in this way
Yeah.
because I know that's what I'm meant to do. And then there's power in that because you're showing up very strongly as who you are. And like we said, it's not a dictatorial type of power. It's the power of just being the best you. Because, it actually just made me think of, oh gosh, that I think it was Mark Twain. I'm not sure. Now I'm just thinking, but somebody, or maybe it was Gandhi. Anyway, it talked about what are the other in cemeteries.
Mark Twain
Yeah,
and Gandhi. Okay.
yeah, but it was in cemeteries, all the potential that was lost. Or in the cemeteries, you see it's a place where a lot of potential never was utilized. They didn't
Opportunity,
step
talent,
into it,
yeah. Goals that were
right?
never defined, therefore couldn't be met. There's something called the
Right.
dash, and it's a story or a poem or something, and it says between like your birth year and your passing year is that dash. That's life.
Mm,
That's
yes,
so what's on your dash? It's just a great visual, and yes,
yes.
to think how much talent. So for each one of us, we don't have to be that. We can reach our goals, leave a great legacy, create great stories. Debbie, I have to ask you something. Go back to that 10-year-old just for a moment. Years later, class reunions or whatever, did you ever bump into some of those fourth grade classmates?
I not specifically, but similar classmates within the same class. And yes, and knowing who I was then and the decisions that I made and who I am now. And yes, and we're on, for example, different levels of success, for example.
Hmm.
And there was even a period of time where I was in a very humble time where I pulled back and I was homeschooling my kids for 20 years. That was part of it while I was running businesses. And it was very easy to go to that place where you could start comparing, but I'm only A, right? And they are all that. And there was that time, but then now in the last decade or more, it's been very different. It's like, no, because I'm stepping into, like you said, that my purpose is here. And we're in seasons. That's the other thing. Coming back to again your point about is it ever too late? We're in different seasons. We're in different seasons of availability, of potentiality, if that's a word, and potential. And yeah, and so now I look back and yeah, it would be fun to actually to see those kids because of that fact that I just stood up and I didn't let them define me, that it would be really fun to see them, but I
I
haven't.
would bet, and I hope I'm right about this, is that none of them would remember that that's what they said.
Right,
Because again, they were 10 years old too.
right.
And my point about that is that people can impose moments upon you that you can take
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of your life that were really kind of meaningless to them, but how
Mm-hmm.
they could influence somebody else. you
True,
in that
true.
case, and
Yeah.
that we have the ability, we agree at any time to take that control back
Hmm.
and to um, you know, in the Bible, sinner, heal thyself kind of a
Hmm.
thing, to take
Hmm.
control of the moment and make better decisions. I was just curious if any of them, if you had met some of them, and if any of them would have recalled it. If they did, I don't think they would have been proud enough to bring it up, to be honest with you.
Mm,
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Debbie,
Yeah.
you are fascinating because the whole purpose of BEP Talks is to speak not just with women, but to speak with those of us who have enough experience in our rearview mirror, enough
Mm,
education, that creates wisdom. Education and experience, we now have this wisdom that we should share, and
yes.
that we all have something to share. And there are people out there who need to hear that message. Not everybody
Mm,
hears the same message the same way, but you find yourself in the message. And in
mm,
so doing, you find the lesson to be learned. You find the challenge to overcome. And that is just one of the things that I love so much about BEP Talks, that we share beliefs, experiences, and passions. And we've done all of that today. And I just want people to know that if you're out there and you're experiencing any of that self doubt, any of that, I'm not sure if, and I'm not sure why I feel the way I feel. That's self doubt. That's second guessing. You are the
mm.
exact person who needs to be in touch with Debbie Chen, because she has the method to help you get past that. And you can hear her passion for doing that. And it comes from experience. And I think that is, as we say, the school of hard knocks,
Right,
where
right.
we really learn it hard and we learn it forever. So I invite everybody, the contact information for Debbie is going to be below. Debbie is so Debbie, tell us, you're offering a wonderful opportunity for people to speak with you. Tell them about that.
Yes, yes, yes. Just is my gift to everyone here, and just an appreciation for this opportunity. Absolutely. Everyone is welcome to go ahead and just book a call with me. And we just start to get into those next steps, especially we're coming into, the time of year always when we need to be preparing for the next quarter, whatever that might
Right.
be, right?
Whatever that might be. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
The
just
evolution
getting
that goes back to evolving, growing, continuing. Yeah. Yeah.
right, right, right. And having those next steps. And yeah, and that's what we just do in that conversation and connect.
Good. So please go to the link below. And I want to stress again, if you're out there saying, should I, shouldn't I? Yes, you should. You're the exact person. Stop self guessing. Go direct to the source here, Debbie Chen, who's going to help you get past all of that self doubt, all of that second guessing that too many of us, particularly women, and we could talk about that so much, Debbie. I think we will
Oh,
meet
for
again
sure.
and talk
Yes.
about that. So, Debbie, thank you so much for sharing that experience at a very tender age, and for saying how you used it to really
Mhm.
empower yourself and to take a moment that was very painful, no doubt, continue the leader that you have
Mhm.
become, and that you're here to help others evolve into their own greatness, how they can
Absolutely.
wake up, show up, step up. So please just go to the link below, everybody, and take Debbie up on her very generous offer to share her time with you, so you and she get to know each other and decide how you should evolve together. Debbie, thank you so
Absolutely.
much. This has been wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
I thank our audience. Oh, my absolute pleasure. I thank the audience as always, because there's so much valuable lesson in this. And I would love to hear your story. I would love for you to come on BEP Talks and share your beliefs, experiences, and passions in this just very authentic, let's chat environment. So there's also a link for that below. Please, I'd love to see you on my calendar. And until then, as we always say, here at BEP Talks. May the best always be yet to come. We believe it can. Until the next time, then, Thank you so much for watching. And thank you again, Debbie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. My absolute pleasure. Bye for now.